When I started parkour, the idea of a parkour park or a parkour gym was quite rare. Like, there were a few that existed, but there wasn't tons. But nowadays, there are literally endless amazing parkour facilities all around the world. So in today's video, I'm going to list you my top 10 parkour parks. So a quick disclaimer, I've been to quite a few of these parkour parks, but I haven't been to them all. So I'm not just judging this on how fun they are to do parkour, but also the creativity in the architecture, because I think that's a really big thing. We'll get into that a bit more later. Ollerup in Denmark.
Add it up.
Now this is a park I have actually been to. I think it was back in 2017, me and my friends went over to Europe and did a bit of a tour. Ollerup is known as the Hogwarts for parkour. This is literally a school that people can go to study parkour, along with a bunch of other things like dance, gymnastics, and I'm pretty sure that Cirque du Soleil have some kind of involvement with Ollerup. The idea that you can go and study parkour just blows my mind, considering how in my school, me and my friend Greg got parkour banned from the playground. I'm still not quite over that. But anyway, that aside, Ollerup is an incredible facility. The parkour park is split into an indoor and outdoor area. So the indoor bit of the park has kind of a bit of everything. I find Ollerup kind of perfect for a variety of styles of parkour. At the time that I went, I was really into the long A to B stuff, so I was doing a lot of that. But they have a whole integrated bar set up. There's also room for tricking and also big challenges. There's kind of everything there. The outdoor park I actually personally enjoyed a little bit more because there was lots of layers, so you could do these kind of ascent, descent sort of things, and it was really good. But to be honest, I think what really makes Ollerup stand out is the kind of lifestyle that you have when you're there. I remember when me and my friends went, it's like a whole massive campus of tons of different things. So we'd wake up in the morning and go and do parkour till like midday. Then we might go and eat, and then we could go to the area with all the flips and the trampolines and stuff. And then we'd pretty much spend the whole evening sitting in the sauna and going in the swimming pool. It's honestly just a really cool lifestyle. If you ever get the opportunity to go out to Ollerup, definitely take it. Before we get into the next one, I want to give a massive thank you to today's sponsor, GlassesUSA.com. Now, it's no secret that I'm pretty blind. Like, my prescription is absolutely crazy. And throughout my whole life, the process of getting glasses that like match my prescription has been a massive chore. So when GlassesUSA.com reached out and said they wanted to sponsor me, I was really excited. Basically, by cutting out the middleman, GlassesUSA.com is able to offer 70% off retail prices. Now you can shop for prescription glasses online at an affordable price from the comfort of your home. There's over 6,000 styles of glasses and sunglasses to choose from. From their in-house brands like Muse and Amelia E, all the way to the more designer brands like Ray-Ban and Gucci, Armani, and many more. So the ones I'm wearing right now are definitely my favorite. These are the Toto Mexicali. I then have these Ray-Ban 7046s. And then when I'm trying to look like a rock star, I'll wear these. These are the Toto Mare glasses, and I really love these ones. For me, what really stands out is that you can get any prescription with these lenses. It was so simple to get these. I put my prescription in online, placed an order, and then they arrived at my doorstep. Shipping is completely free on all orders. As well, they have a no questions asked return policy. Meaning, if you simply just don't like your glasses, you can get a full refund if you let them know within 14 days. So be sure to head over to GlassesUSA.com. Anyway, back to the video. Okay, next on this list is one I haven't been to, and I haven't actually seen that much footage of this place, other than a couple of videos here and there, and that is the BGI Academy in Denmark as well. As you're going to find out from this video, nearly all the best parkour parks are from Denmark. Those Danes know how to build a good parkour park. So for me, the BGI park is probably the most aesthetically incredible park I've ever seen. This thing just looks amazing. Like, there's an indoor and an outdoor bit, but the outdoor bit looks particularly cool. It's in this kind of like brutalist, heavy concrete look, and it's really striking and just interestingly designed. There's nice big platforms, and there's kind of like a congruency to the design. It's not just thin walls scattered around amongst each other, but rather it seems like they've designed it not only to be good at parkour, but good to look at. And this is something that a lot of parkour parks overlook. I find a lot of parkour parks can be kind of boring to look at. There's not much in the way of like architecture that goes into some of them. But BGI really stands out to me as having done it right. There's a video on the Story channel from when Callum went to BGI in 2015. And in the description, it actually said this is the world's biggest and most expensive parkour park on earth. Now, I don't know if that's still true, but I could certainly imagine it is. When you make a parkour park out of concrete like this one here, it starts getting pretty expensive. And that's usually the reason why a lot of gyms kind of go for that cheaper looking wood and metal bar setup. Like, I don't blame them for that, but when you look at the BGI one, there's just this quality difference that you can see. But this is definitely one that I have to go visit at some point in my life. All right, next up is the Apes Gym in Sydney, Australia. Now, I very recently made a video all about Dom. Like, the last few weeks of parkour has felt like International Dom Month.
2, 1.
What with Stora making that video, me making mine. But basically, Dom is a sponsored athlete from Apes. They host the Apes Jump Off competition. And it's a pretty crazy competition. I mean, the skill level of Australian athletes is very high. And as we can see with Dom, the mentality towards training is just go hard. The Apes gym has a really good variety of obstacles with different heights. So again, like any good parkour park, it's got stuff for all kinds of skill levels. But the thing that really stands out is the aesthetic of this place. They've got this massive apes in the middle, as well as some insane graffiti of this gorilla looking at you. And I just really like the way that they've played with the colors and made this thing look very creative. Okay, so next on the list is Golev, again from Denmark. Now, Golev I'd actually never heard of before. Like, I'd never even seen pictures of this place. But when I posted on Instagram that I'm making this video, I googled parkour park. And this picture of Golev was like the first thing that came up. And I'm amazed I've never seen this before. Like, again, with these Danish parkour parks, their attention to the architecture and how cool they make it look is the thing that really stands out to me. The way that the Golev park is kind of designed is that it all sort of builds to this top point. There's like this centerpiece and then they build it all around it. And again, it's built out of concrete and it has this striking look to it. It just looks, to me, really cool. And so if you contrast that with this picture of a UK parkour park, you'll see why this just blows my mind. In the UK, the parkour parks seem to have no attention to how they look. It's like they just buy the cheapest equipment possible, chuck it down and say, have it. Look, I could probably moan about UK parkour parks for quite a while. So if you want me to make a video on that, comment below. But anyway, back to Golev. On top of this park looking really cool, it's also just a very good park to train at. I like parks like this where it doesn't seem too obvious what things are. I've noticed with these more architecturally driven parkour parks that things aren't as obviously laid out. The problem you'll find with a lot of parkour parks when it comes to aesthetics is things are laid out to be done. You'll lay out a Kong precision, you'll lay out a running precision, etc. And it kind of reduces the creativity of the athlete, as opposed to when you do parkour in the streets and you're forced to reinvent things and find stuff. Architecturally driven parkour parks tend to lend themselves more to the latter, more towards your creativity and finding jumps, as opposed to everything just being obviously laid out for you. Alright, so next on this list is Motive Movement. Now this gym does look good, it's sort of cleanly designed, it's quite minimalist in terms of colours, etc. But I think half the reason I want to feature this one is because of Bob Reese.
Bob, this is not a good idea, don't do that.
Nah, dude, it's fine. I'm on X Games mode.
Over on Bob's Instagram and his YouTube, he just makes this gym look so fun to train at.
No way!
He's just endlessly getting up to shenanigans in that gym, and it looks like they have a cool attitude towards parkour there. It's got pretty much everything you would want and expect from a parkour park. It's got a Ninja Warrior area, got a trampoline area, foam pits, etc. And I do quite like the design. It's not the same as the Brutalist kind of looking ones, but for a wooden parkour park, I do quite like this style. It looks like the type of parkour park that you could spend a whole day there just chilling and having fun. And it just seems like quite a laid-back atmosphere. Like, you can tell from Bob Reese and the stuff he gets up to that the guys there don't take themselves too seriously and they have a lot of fun.
Joe! Yo! Oh my God!
Alright, so next on this list is actually the first and probably the only UK parkour park I'm gonna feature. I always get it in the neck for how much I talk about parkour in the UK. So much so that PKFR Memes made a meme about it on Instagram. Fair play, lads. I'm not gonna pretend that ain't true. But anyway, in parkour in the UK, if there's one thing that we are not that good at, it's making good parkour parks and gyms. Like, I don't want to upset anyone, but we just don't really have that many incredible ones. However, in my opinion, Fluidity definitely makes the list. I've only ever been to Fluidity once, and it was quite a while ago, but I really did have good fun when I was there. It's the kind of gym you can spend a whole day at, and you'll enjoy it. What's really cool about this gym is that they recreated the iconic, now demolished parkour spot of Vauxhall. It's not 100% accurate, but it's really cool that they did it. The design of Fluidity is kind of that simple wood look, but it actually does look quite nice in the way that they've done it, because they've thought about the colours a little bit. They have the dark walls that contrast against that simple kind of wood look. It was definitely between Fluidity and Nova City. I've never actually been to Nova City, so I kind of had to say Fluidity, but a big shout out to Nova City as well. Alright, so next up on this list is Mission Tokyo. Now I really tried to look into non-English speaking countries and find their best gyms, but because of the language barrier it is kind of hard doing that. But I'd seen in a few of JBPK's clips that he sometimes trains in a gym, and I looked into the gym a bit more and it's actually really cool. The entrance looks really classy, and then when you go in you're greeted by this kind of big road design, and there's all these signposts to kind of be reminiscent of being outdoors in the street. As far as size goes, it looks like a slightly smaller gym, but I think that's kind of cool because it lends itself really well to that kind of Japanese style of parkour that's popping up these days. The head coach of the gym is Masa Suzuki. Now I've actually met Masa way back when he was the head coach at Ollera, and it's really cool years on seeing him still absolutely killing it in the world of parkour coaching. And it seems like the kids that he's teaching are going to be incredible in the next few years. Okay, so next up on this list is Hall 5 in Belgium. Now again, unfortunately, this is a gym I've not been to, even though it's only in Belgium, which isn't that far from me. But Hall 5 seems like this really cool place. It's built inside this kind of complex thing where there's like a food market and stuff like that. Jason Paul made a really nice vlog of when him and Emily went there to hand them Emily's printed parkour photography. And the place just looks amazing. It has this like cool industrial aesthetic to it. The walls have exposed brick, there's like these rusty metal girders, and there's these big open windows that look really good with the natural light coming in. In terms of like actual obstacles, it looks incredible. Like there's so much stuff to do. This seems like the kind of gym you would go to for years and still manage to find new things to do. There's lots of more like thin walls and rails, so it seems more geared towards big power challenges, techie kind of creative stuff, rather than like these big layers like we've seen in some of the earlier ones. But this is definitely a gym I need to go to myself. Alright, so next on this list is In Motion in Prague. Now, I have been to this gym. Probably, again, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was in Prague doing parkour, and it just so happened to be on the same night as this big jam that we didn't even know was happening. What really stood out to me about this gym was that it had more layers. So whereas I was saying with Hall 5, it's more like thinner walls, this one right at the back had all these big descending layers, which is really fun to do kind of the flowy ascent-descent kind of thing. And I remember as soon as I left that gym, I was like, I wish we had something like that in the UK. To me, that gym just had everything you could kind of want. If you're a big power athlete, you're covered. If you're more into like flowy stuff, you were also covered. Alright, so next on this list was obviously one I was going to mention. No parkour part list could be complete without mentioning Tempest. But the thing is, it was really hard to pick one. Throughout the years, Tempest have opened up tons of different locations. Now, it's going to be really hard to pick just one of the Tempest academies because they are so good, like all of them look amazing. Now, recently, and really sadly, the South Bay location had to close down. Because of the whole lockdown and, you know, I can't say the word, YouTube will demonetize me. The Tempest academies are still alive and kicking. They have their Dallas location, they have their Valley location, which if I'm not mistaken, I think was the first one. They have North County, which has this massive plain in the middle of it. And then they have what looks to me would be my favorite is the Dallas location. The thing about the Tempest gyms is that they really care for how they look. Like I remember when the first video promoting these gyms came out, and I can recall just how blown away I and pretty much the whole parkour community was. This thing was so professionally done. Like it must have been a multi-million-dollar project. And at that time where parkour gyms were still kind of a rare thing, to see this big budget gym open out in America was amazing. They have a really cool way of taking like pop culture elements, quirky color schemes, and then mixing in like famous parkour architecture from all around the world. And it has this like kind of quirky video gamey kind of vibe to it. To me, I really love seeing parkour parks that are designed to look good. To me, parkour is many things, but partly it's a celebration of architecture. Like when I was little, I didn't really care how buildings looked. It didn't bother me. But when I got into parkour, I got more observant over how people design buildings. As I would travel to different countries, I would notice how they design buildings differently. And it's kind of given me a deeper appreciation for culture in general. Parkour parks present this opportunity to just go wild with architecture. To create something that looks amazing that also happens to be really good for doing parkour. The Tempest gyms, BGI, these sorts of places really do it right. They balance being good for parkour with aesthetics. When the day comes that I open a parkour gym, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna make that place look like an architecture just had an aneurysm. But anyway, I'm curious to find out what you guys think is the best parkour gym on earth. There are tons that I missed, so be sure to comment that below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. The parkour bucket list is out now, along with a new t-shirt that I've just put out on jimmythegiant.co.uk. You can massively help me out by picking one of them up, supporting me on Patreon, or using the sponsored link below. Peace.